Welcome to RANsquawk's morning briefing for Thursday, 22nd of October 2009. Just going through 9 o'clock, then taking a quick recap of the overnight news and how things have traded so far in the UK European morning. First of all, worth starting with the close on Wall Street. Did see quite an aggressive sell-off in the last hour of trade in New York, coming predominantly on the back or being led by the financial sector, which was the biggest decliner on the S&P 500 index. Catalyst for that move, analysts are putting down to comments from Rochdale's key analyst there, Dick Beauvais, who did downgrade Wells Fargo to a neutral rating, saying that those Q3 numbers, although they did beat expectations pre-market yesterday, according to Beauvais, they will not be able to sustain that performance going forward. And again, they did finish down individually around 5%, which led the financials lower. So in Europe, we have opened equities down around 1.5%, where we had paired some of those losses, but still negative territory. Also getting attention overnight was a raft of Chinese data. In particular, grabbing the headlines there was the GDP number. Obviously has been rumoured in the last week or so to come out a lot stronger than expected. Did indeed show an increase from its previous by a significant margin, but came in below the analysts' expectation, having a print of 8.9%. Analysts were expecting a 9% reading. So on the back of that, also weighing on some of the sentiment, and also hit some of the higher yielding currencies such as the Aussie and Kiwi overnight. In particular with the Kiwi, something that was ongoing from yesterday with the US hedge fund, the Galleon fund. Again, we've heard of some unwinding of positions, especially heavily in the Kiwi being associated to a US hedge fund. So again, could be related to that Galleon move yesterday. In terms of some other headlines to be aware of, coming out of China. China needs an urgent tightening of monetary policy to prevent stock and property bubbles forming after stimulus measures were introduced this year, as according to a leading Chinese banker, the chairman of the China Merchants Bank, which is the 6th largest in Asia, or in China I should say. Elsewhere from the US, a couple of Fed speakers. First of all, just recapping as well the Beige Book for anyone who didn't stick around yesterday. The general tone of that was that the Beige Book showed Fed banks see many areas of stabilisation and modest improvement. From Fed, Lacquer said losses on commercial real estate are mounting from community and regional banks, but do not present a systemic risk to the broader economy. Lacquer added that he is pretty confident the US economy will see growth of 2.5% to 3% in 2010. Elsewhere, Fisher says, I don't see a double-dip recession, and noting that President Obama spoke late yesterday, saying that there is still too little credit flow into US small businesses. Elsewhere, in the currency markets as well, worth noting for the Swedish economy, we've seen the Riksbank interest rate decision this morning. They indeed kept rates, as analysts were expecting, on hold at 0.25%, but they did say that rates will stay on hold until autumn of 2010. Did see the Euro SEK rates shoot higher on the back of that comment, so Swedish krona weakness there, that their rates will remain low for the foreseeable future. Elsewhere, WTI crude futures, dollar index is trading in positive territory this morning, which is weighing there. That's up around 0.25%. So WTI crude, which did touch initially an $82 high at around the NYMEX pit close yesterday, has pared back slightly, trading around 80.50 at the moment. We're down around $1 for the session. Again, we're tracing some of that sharp uplift from the bullish gasoline dairy number yesterday. And elsewhere, we have seen this morning for cable in particular. Obviously, we saw a massive rally yesterday on the back of slightly less dovish MPC minutes from the October meeting. We've seen Tucker, though, being covered in the Scotsman newspaper this morning, saying that the Bank of England could extend the QE if it were necessary. Cable down around 50 pips at the session low at the moment, trading around 165.50 last. A couple of corporate earnings that to be aware of. At the moment in Europe, as I've already mentioned, equities are lower. Technology is actually the underperforming sector so far. eBay in particular, they reported after market close yesterday in the US, and they shot down around 7% in extended hours. Although their EPS was a penny beat, sales were also minor positive. Their outlook for the next quarter was somewhat disappointing, and again, techs are underperforming. Elsewhere out of Switzerland, 3 of the major companies there reported. Credit Suisse were the standout. They had Q3 net attributable profit at 2.4 billion Swiss francs, way above the estimate of 1.74. Novartis, their Q3 net profit and quarterly sales were both in line with expectations, and Nestle had 9-month sales just shy of estimates at 79.5 billion, but they've increased their 2009 share buyback to 7 billion Swiss francs from a previous 4 billion. So just take a look then for the rest of the day. UK retail sales, they're due up next at 9:30 London time, alongside the BOE releasing their trend in lending reports. We'll be keeping a close eye whether credit conditions are indeed improving in the UK or not. Then we'll look ahead to 10 o'clock for the trade balance from Italy. 1:30 is from the US, the weekly jobless numbers, alongside Canadian retail sales. They'll take us further into the Belgian business confidence level, sometimes seen as a pre-indicator for the German iPhone number, so we'll keep an eye on that. Analysts are looking for contraction, but a slight improvement from the previous weekly Belgian business confidence today. And then later on at 3 o'clock we'll have US leading indicators and house price index. Fixed income wise, 10:30 this morning, we will see from the DMO in the UK a 4.75 billion 2014 conventional tap, and then focus in the US will be on a 5-year tips, 2 and 5 and 7-year refunding announcement at 4 o'clock. And then finally today, in terms of US corporate earnings, in terms of the amount of companies, it is the most busiest of the week. Some of the highlights will be AT&T, American Express, McDonald's, Merck, Schering Plough, Philip Morris, Dow Chemical, Union Pacific and UPS, just to name a few. They'll be kicking off at around 11 o'clock London time.